coming into day number 3, or are they still rocking their strategy, truly believing that their way is the only way to find that path to victory?
No doubt at all, it is not going to be an easy fight in here for these squads. We've got some super heavy hitters. We've got heavy hitters and super heavy hitters, and we've got the underdogs. The underdogs are going to be tortured unless we see some sort of a miracle out there. And look at this cliff. They've already been struggling, but now caught between two Vietnamese squad and one Thai giant here at Stone Ridge. They can't go to any compound to loot up.
Not yet. And it looks like Refinery was completely taken over by RRQ, and they even get a little bit of an extension, realizing that a majority of these teams have not landed towards the northwest quadrant of the map. Now, as we see, again, the early game was a big question mark for me, whether or not these teams are really going to take the fight and really risk everything to get just a couple extra more coins, a couple extra more points early on in the game, or if they're going to take a slower approach this time around, knowing that there are higher stakes coming into this very final day.
Absolutely, man. And EVOS clearly sticking together, preferring to drop here at Shrines, a spot that allows for a quick reset if in any case there is a hot drop or you do have anyone visiting the area, a spot that's great for a easy exit out as well. And by the way, there's a quick team elimination head-to-head that I did not know we were going to get. 23-12 eliminations. EVOS Divine obviously taking the lead here up against Redhawks.
Well, let's see. Redhawks have a very good opportunity to catch up here, assuming that they can live longer than the mid-game, because I think that was their very big problem in the past, right? In comparison to EVOS, they need that momentum. I think that's still tried and true. They need that early game map going for them to kind of carry out that energy throughout the rest of the day. But I think the real question here is for our redemption archers, BRU. Wait, hold on. RCPE already in the same compound and looking to fight.
Well, first blood is going to be courtesy of Anas from Hot Shots as he takes down a player from the side of EVOS. PE Sports up against the players of Red Cliff. On the other hand, Nero with a monster nade onto Rex, taking him out of the equation with the assistance of LBT. Sprays down Hope and Liku as well. Fahim, the last player, trying to get away, a sliver of health, and that's it for Red Cliff, the first team to get eliminated here out in 12th.
A fast execution here by Santa Catarina. PE Sports have done well. Rasha finds a clean headshot onto Hasu. And now they have to make sure that they can kind of completely disengage from this fight, or at the very least start pushing out the last remaining members of the Hot Shots to ensure that their backs are clear.
Yeah, and I'm actually quite surprised because, you know, many people have been talking down Redhawks for a little bit, and I'm so sorry to see you go as well, Hotshots. This is a super quick lobby, isn't it? Two squads out just at the 3rd minute. But continuing what I was saying, although many say Redhawks have not performed well at all, EVOS is not too far ahead of them. You know, they're barely 20 points away, and that shows how difficult this lobby is on the grand scheme of things, right? You talk about Redhawks not able to survive in many of those engagements, but you look at Buriram and EVOS, it's the exact same story. It's just a different level here.
Yeah, but that's the thing, with depending on where you are from, and especially considering that the veterans of these types of tournaments on an international stage, day ones, if it goes really well for them, they can carry it out throughout the entire tournament. If day 1 and 2 doesn't go well, at least they have time to start analyzing and consuming information, right? Where can we start preying on these targets? Where can we start taking full advantage? Because I think from RRQ's position, they realize that not a lot of people have been contesting them unless it is Group C for the Refinery and the northwestern side of the compound. I mean, not to mention that obviously the plane and the drop zones are going to be a big factor of it all, but I would say at least 75% of the time, especially against Group B, it's very clear what they want to do.
And EVOS, I love the update here. We now get to see on the free cam the teams that are nearby, so at least I don't need to be lost wondering who's in the area. So Falcons up against EVOS in this scenario. Falcons with the high ground. Peanut choosing to not go crazy just yet, to stick his head out the very edge of this cliff here because he knows better than anybody else. The headshot from down bottom, way too easy. He doesn't know that it's EVOS And Rasia obviously will not think twice to remove their head from those shoulders, right? Deep freeze tossed in. No tags onto Pina, who quickly repositions.
Pina trying to pull as much attention as possible. His limit is already in an off angle. Same goes for Karoro. But now that Karoro sticks his head out, they're getting a rough idea of what exactly the spread is starting to look like. Aim God's got to be careful. If he can buy some time, they can start pushing Karoro on the left.
And since the drop in here, EVOS has been holding on to Shrines, mainly because of the jump pad as well as the vending machine. No great reason to walk out of here because the circle's continuously looking for them as well. And 2 eliminations in already. Ray almost got shut down, but Coach Hill with a backstab. And Falcons say hasta la vista. Limit does not want to stay and play. Losing 3 players to EVOS that they try to attack. They very quickly back away. Only 1 revival possible here for Limit as he finds another coin machine, making it possible to bring back 2 of his buddies. And it looks like EVOS is not coming in for the pursuit, although Nova Legion will not think twice to take Limit back to the lobby.
And Nova Legion, they're going, if they look up right now, they're going to see 2 of the Falcon members actually flying back down from Council Hill. Great decisions being made by EVOS. They cleared their backs, they see Falcon, they said, yes, we can take this engagement. And now Limit just has to buy as much time as that's going to be good enough, but he doesn't find any.
And just so accurate these Nova Legion players are, and very put together when it comes to taking the flanks in situations like this. You just saw, right? Council Hall, they knew that there was a player there, instantaneously splitting up into 2 smaller groups, flanking around the left and right, squeezing the little life out of Limit. There's just no way of survival there. No amount of footwork or defenses can take you out of that situation, even if you had backup. And that's what's so scary about Nova Legion. When they go out on the attack, they very rarely fail.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? I think before this, for the past, like, 2 or so years, other than, you know, Fluxo, people have been saying that the West does not have the mechanical ability. They're smart when it comes down to rotations. They are smart to know how to influence teams to make certain movements. But I think now it's a completely different scenario where a lot of these Western teams do have the mechanical skill to go toe-to-toe with some of the best. And even worse yet, they are learning from the best when it comes down to these rotations and coming up with anti-strategies, because there's a lot of aggression that comes in from the Eastern side that they can take full advantage of when it comes down to the early mid-game.
Very interesting position held here by RRQ. They used to love the refinery, and then they had abandoned the refinery for a long time since some of the other teams started picking up on their plays and started camping here looking for them. But now with the refinery play, as I speak about it, they say, no, Mustachio, that's not the plan, actually. They quickly relocate to command post just for a little bit of action. This is where GOW and PE Sports were chilling out earlier. Dinoculus will scan out the 4 PE players who are rotating away, and RRQ is now the new king of command post.
RRQ is trying to cover as much space as possible here. Command post is particularly annoying to hold with so many verticalities, but worse yet, there's a lot of smaller structures within the vicinity. So controlling command post is more about finding the one structure that you can hold, and usually it's that northern side where you have the biggest compound, but just small enough to kind of maintain control while still having view of the rest of the landscape. Even so, from refinery side, we see that Nova Legion is actually cutting downwards to the south, and hopefully they'll end up towards the command post side from the western, from confinement side, from that western spot. I'm not sure whether they're going to have a spot to play with within command post. They might have to take through Bayfront and then look for some of the smaller buildings across the road.
And a quick fun fact, almost 50% of the loadout is filled with team boosters. Once again, one of the most loved updates out of OB51, making or enabling some of these rushes to go on out there a little bit tankier, with the capability to recover quickly as well out of battle. No surprises whatsoever that it is a favorite pick. But now, Falcons up against Nova Legion, literally on the drop and in for the strike. Falcons stood no chance there. Cluso getting a hop onto them, catching them by surprise, and now Falcons about to scramble. There is a vending machine here as Pina trades Sabas right out. A 1-for-1, but quick revival by Nova Legion. Now it's a 2v2. Pina and On Fire could perhaps stop disaster, but here comes EVOS as well to join the party.
A good interception coming in from Nova, but now EVOS, they're the last ones to actually make contact here. And with the member already down, Floki's trying his best, allowing the rest of the Falcons to actually move away. Peanut takes out one more from Nova Legion, and now they have to be real careful. EVOS taking the safer approach to watch the backside of Santa Catarina and try to loop around against anybody who's trying to move through as the artillery is coming down at the same time.
Yeah, the hunters get hunted, man. Nova Legion thought they got a great drop onto Falcons, removing a member from their side, got one traded out, had the revive, but out of nowhere, here comes EVOS as well, right? Peanut takes the bus out. Nova Legion, this could be the biggest mistake, and the Valiant dash straight into the defenses, but the time turner comes out, and Peanut trades Floki right back out in that 1v1. And EVOS rushes straight in, 3v2. EVOS looking to clean up house. Aingot finds Pina on fire down as well as Ray finds into the M590. And Kororo up top. Down they go. And EVOS,
amazing push, great mirroring against Nova Legion. They were tailing just behind them. They didn't notice them until the launch pad came through and heard those shots, and that's when they made the decision. You know what? If we mirror them, we can make sure that whoever they're fighting is just not going to have enough resources as long as we take and hold space. We don't necessarily have to steal away Santa Catarina. We just need to force them into whoever they're making contact with, and it worked out perfectly.
So this map is now all for the taking, because when you compare every single team within the group A and B, the only team that has got a booyah here on Kalahari, the only team that has got massive points, close to 30, was Falcons. With them out of the equation, anybody can go in there and rip this one away. Red Hawks now in yet another engagement, this time up against Clear Vision. This is a fair fight for Red Hawks, which I do expect them to take something out of.
I don't know. I think that Red Hawks might want to even consider they're locking themselves in, but they can't seem to figure out whether or not they can actually get to the second floor, because right now, with their current angle, Team Solid is literally breathing down their necks. And not to mention that from afar, they can still be spotted out. It's not the safest position in the world, but they don't know if they can start invading on the bottom side. But it looks like Clear Vision are going to be the ones who make the first move.
Oh, Lao Ho out of nowhere. PE Sports helping out Red Hawks. Red Hawks barricading themselves in. Sharon, the one with the initial knock onto the Red Hawk player, now the only one still surviving. Right up top they go, and now Red Hawks ends up the victim up against PE Sports out in the open. They have to spend so many of their glue walls. A Riptide Rhythm sent their way as well to break down their defenses, and everybody's on their tummy just to avoid the engagements out of PE.
And that's what we call an information difference. The Red Hawks knew the angles that weren't safe. Unfortunately for Clear Vision, they just wasn't sure who was going to be sniping from that angle. They thought it was safe, but they ends up showing their backs entirely. Now, Team Solid, they're going to be launching themselves into the southern side of the next ring here on the north side of Stone Ridge. Hopefully they have a compound to play with. Palm trees, and that might have accidentally hit Guaxa out of position.
What a strike, man. PE Sports is not pulling any stops whatsoever. They just saw the players flying on in from the side of Solid, and they just took every single shot. Surprisingly, every single shot, finding those connections. They're very lucky, Team Solid, that not many of the other players had a clear line of vision. Nolan flying straight in. M590 in play. LBT turns around to look for one, finding it, and Team Solid not looking so solid right now.
PE dominating the southern side of this fourth ring closure, as BRU and as well as EVO stuck on the far eastern side. The last members of Nova Legion still trying to make sure that they survive. EVOS now taking the low ground as BRU must hold the high ground. As we all see, the slows is going to stop the Jonah. Gets knocked out by Coach Shield, and a full push from EVOS Divide to try and close out this fight as Lashia is already down. Get High gets knocked by another nade of their own. The launchers are coming through, but it doesn't look too good as Wasana and Ray are still chasing on each other's tails. Wasana finally goes down, trading with Coach Shield, but it's too late for BRU. They get knocked out in 8th.
Unbelievable performance out of Buriram, but a shockingly good one from the side of EVOS. They lost Russia on that jump pad play, but they still managed to overwhelm every single player on the side of Buriram. 15 eliminations already. EVOS is just absolutely ripping everyone apart. Red Hawks finally falter on that 7th spot, and now we are left with the top 5 squads in here, and one of them is PE Sports. Look at this Vietnamese squad, man. There was a time where they could barely get a single elimination elimination, and now they're in one of the hottest lobbies, ripping lives away from their opponents.
It doesn't help that the artillery is also coming in here. Flame Arena has been real great. Love the graphics here, but unfortunately for GOW, getting pounded by both PE and as well as RRQ from two different sides. Really, RRQ, they don't mind it. They're like, give me the free points, as RRQ themselves now have to take the fight. Aika and Abe actually want to hold them in position. They're even sending all of their members to make sure that they fight for the God spot.
And these were the monsters who were so pissed yesterday. What do you mean the West is dominating? Wait till we come back into the fray and we show you what we are capable of. Now, 3 teams, all from the East. PE Sports have got a great spot. Problem is, EVOS has already started working on them. Grenades, Riptide Rhythm now from Maal as well, breaking down those defenses. They send the plushie out from Narrow as well. No more glue walls for PE. EVOS striking from the other side. The 2 Indonesian squads working together, annihilating PE.
And now, EVOS, it's a 3v4 scenario, and RRQ are poised to take this game all the way to the end. The Booyah at stake here as they're throwing out their own UAVs to make sure that the glue walls on that right side can push through as Abe takes first contact, finds Ray exactly how they wanted to with the help of Ika, Aim God, cutting through them only in half, but Malphite finds the headshot anyways. Kochil, the last one is left, and this should be the win here for the Booyah as they cut down the last few. Booyah achieved by RRQ here on map 1 in Kalahari.
Indonesia is here to make a statement. RRQ, EVOS, both of them monstrous round this time as we open up Kalahari. Now, we've been talking about the point where Kalahari no longer belongs to RRQ and EVOS no longer belongs to Indonesia in terms of